When my father died, I was the closed drawstring of a silk purse. You came to me, offered your hand. When I could see my way out of the labyrinth I was lost in, you came to me, offered your eyes. When the way I had known in the world disappeared and threw me off balance, you came to me, offered your smile. When the bitter taste of tears pulled at my heart, you came to me, offered your light. When I lost my footing, trying to find the rising moon, you came to me, offered your dance. When the stories brewed inside me and caused me to duck and hide, you came to me, offered your shelter. When I lay down at night to the hum of your sweet breath, you came to me, offered your arms. I am so happy to be able to share. I decided, because I've been reading from my dissertation, which was basically centered around a number of concussions I've had over the last few years. And so I decided to go back to some older work and then present some newer work that nobody's heard. And I'm going to start with some poems from my first book, Love and Bones. And I'm really excited to be reading from this again because I haven't written from it for a long time. And I'm really excited because I can give a shout out to some people who are here who were very influential in this book. And first, I want to say thank you to Celeste Snober, who was my one of my supervisors on my master's thesis. And this work came directly out of my master's thesis, or part of it did. And Celeste was such a great support and was one of the people. She just helped me so much with this. So Celeste, with all my heart, thank you. And then Sita and Mary, who are both here, helped with the editing of this book because I had had a concussion and couldn't write, but decided I could edit and to put a book together. And Karma Press took this book on, and they were instrumental and helped me with the initial edits. And then it went off to Evelyn Lau to do the final edit. So Sita and Mary, thank you. And finally, this beautiful cover, Daniela was the person who designed the cover for me. And the photo is not me. It's by a dear friend of ours, Mark Tompkins, but Daniela designed this cover. So I want to thank all of you who had a big, huge part in this book. So my very first book. So
Honey,
yes,
I have to say, I've designed all my covers and never got credit for it. And the only place I get credit for cover design is your book. Thank you.
well, and it's such a beautiful design. So thank you, Daniela. And I also am going to start with a very old poem that ends the book. And I used to end all of my poetry readings with it. It became like a signature poem. And I decided to start this one with this poem. And it's On Being Ashley Judd. Just for a moment this morning, when the fog cleared from the mirror, from the corner of my eye, I thought I looked like Ashley Judd, and I felt beautiful. I could hear my mother's voice whispering in my ear, "You are a raving beauty." And I knew in that second I could do anything. As the image dissolved with shower mist, I was left remembering my mother cursing as she yanked my tight-knit curls into compliance, telling me with each stroke, "You better take anyone who'll have you. They won't be lining up, you know." Gathering wet towels from the floor, I told myself beauty is not store-bought, packaged and labeled and lining shelves. It's like the fresh blue that makes you want to kiss the sky when you stare across at the mountains on a clear day, or the red of your cheeks from climbing to the top of the world when you thought you couldn't. It's surviving in the world when your mother couldn't stand the sight of you, and knowing inside there's an Ashley Judd smiling, waiting to come out. So that is that. And then I switched one of the poems I'm going to read when I was practicing with Jude, because I decided, Jude and I have had many conversations, and she said, "I have no idea how you write such long poetry." So this is one of my longest poems, and it actually won a contest in California years ago. And I thought I would share this with you. Chaucer and Haas. I live on mint tea and toast for months, lie on futons in each room of the cottage I sublet. The one surrounded by 3-foot sunflowers with a dying kitchen stove, small bathroom from an actress who's gone off to Vancouver for some backstage version of King Lear. And I survive on Chaucer, reading Chaucer, writing Chaucer, dreaming Chaucer, reciting Chaucer to my lover, our shadows meshing, whispering to the falling night, wordless meanings. The streetlight outside the front bedroom window illuminates our rhythmic phrases. Old English words bounce between us, keep us distant, draw us closer. We squeeze those words out of one another, try to understand our differences again and again. Alone, the night's tale follows me around the house, echoes between ceiling and floor as I can tomatoes and cherries, watch the leaves accumulate below my bedroom window. The nun's tale abandons me halfway through dinner as I serve my best friend and her latest English fiance, quiche. He drones out nursery rhymes. I quietly pass out red strawberry compote. No, he won't last through the winter. I come alive with spring as I follow the pardoner's words through each room, see them pinned to the walls, to the bathroom next to the shower, in the front room next to the tiny black and white TV, in the kitchen, on the fridge, next to the stove, next to the empty beer cans. These old stories follow me everywhere. I repeat them until they are my words hanging from my tongue, perfect yet lacking feeling. Sometimes tossed like salad, mixed to taste, but not quite right. Then at times, I don't think they just arrive like neighbors for dinner, unexpected but welcome. Summer has returned. Cordelia, the actress soon-to-be waitress, phones home early. They have canceled her play. The sound of her voice mixed with airport hum sounds guttural, short, Chaucerian. Our conversation, too quick, becomes stuck in my throat, chokes me like the humid night air. I vacate, pack my books, my bags, drag myself down the street to my best friend's house, her fiance gone. She is lonely and empty, and I am full of Chaucer. I see you, a young man sitting under a tree, gray flannel shirt hung around your waist, long straggly hair falling into your eyes. You were humped over that familiar blue book, coddling it into your chest, stroking its back as your mouth moves, caressing each syllable until it shapes your words, molds your lips. You stand, an apple in hand, twisting it. You try to squeeze the language from its featureless face, shouting at it, tripping over the meter. You draw a crowd. I watch in silence as words fall from the sacred place you create for yourself. Syllables scatter on the ground in front of me. I bend to pick them up, long to sort them and hand them back to you. And then I remember myself, imitating Chaucer, washing myself in Chaucer, my voice springing forth in Old English dialect, filling the world until I was lost in it, drowning, recovering to discover a voice that was wholly mine. I turn and walk away, leaving you an apple in hand, the pieces of a world beginning to unfold with Haas tucked under my arm. I head for home. And then I wanted to finish from this book with a poem, because the next poem I'm going to read is from a collection of poems that I put together for a little chapbook. And I found it, and I actually thought the poem that is in this book was for the person that this poem I'm about to read was for. When I was 25, my best friend who was bipolar committed suicide. And I've only written a few poems about it, this being one of them. The second poem I thought was about her, but I remembered later that it wasn't, and I'll explain that in a minute. But this is for Liz at midnight. And it started with an Tad as well, from Departure by David Helwig. The voices of the river are truer than any prayers. We can fool ourselves so easily in the dark, lose track of when it's time to go home. I have come to ask forgiveness for forgetting you in everyday life, for moving away from the brink of childhood, for surviving. Fireflies along the wire of air too close, I wave my hand, light scatters, darkness embraced. There is no moon, only rivers that speak in tongues, a barrage of thoughts eclipsed. I have come to water so that you can hear my tears on stones, wash away some sentiment, regret, and resentment. I have come to remember to forgive. The river sleeps as it brushes past this bed you lie on. My fingers skip as I imagine you resting peacefully, rich clay of river's bottom holding you close. Prayers in darkness have no answers. Only the voice of the river calms me. I hear you in it. We fool ourselves so easily in the dark, lose track of when it's time to go home. And this poem was written about another friend of mine who unfortunately committed suicide the day after I spoke to him, and I didn't know about it for a while. I happened to see his Facebook page and then realized that he had died, and it was quite shocking. So when someone forgets to say goodbye, for Robin, with much love. In the morning, the rain collapses my window, my garden, long forgotten the business of summer, now just a mix of tree roots and weeds, nothing of substance left to contemplate. The crows, heads hidden beneath soaking leaves, don't try to follow me down the road. Their babies grown, they have left the street. I am mindless, half drugged with sleep, watching as the morning moves across town, lethargic with the last weekends shifting. As I enter the kitchen, remove the sweater thrown over pajamas, a chill runs through me, and I ignore the phone and that seems to never stop ringing. I can't wash away the fear that if I pick up, something more terrible will happen. That when I hold the receiver, it won't be your voice I hear. It won't be your joke reminding me I can laugh when I don't want to. It won't be your smile coming through to my end. I might make tea even though I know I won't drink it. Keep warm by the fireplace that gives off no heat. The day walks away from me and I don't care. The world has stopped and words are becoming too vast as I drown in a vocabulary that makes no sense. The storm that is soaking through the depths of soil which surround me carries away all absolute truth. I know you would be poking me in the back if you were here, telling me to get off it and move on. I've been dreaming about you for a few days. It's your smile that's always there, your quiet voice laughing as you let my hand slip and you wave goodbye. Then in the morning, the frigid rain again washes dreams into mud. Now, as the tea turns cold, my hands are empty. There is no answer when I ask the clouds if you have found the peace which eluded you. A crow flies by. Winter will soon arrive. I return to the garden in heavy rain, feel the abandonment creep towards me. I cover snapdragon roots with old tea leaves, well aware that even this too will die. So I'm going to move from older poetry to some newer poetry that nobody here has ever heard. And I'm going to start with, it's a line that Sita and I have used in workshops before to inspire people to write, that I decided to revisit the line, not the poem. I've written a new poem and it's called Stirring the Sky. I stir the sky where the clouds meet, an almond cracked blue, a sign of the hope which I seem to have lost with the evening dusk falling into a night of dreams I cannot wake from, my life. I want to hold that blueness where the scarf that binds the ends of atmospheric floods from breaking loose a tsunami of tears. Just a smidgen of brightness that comes from stirring the sky. A single hand reaches through the storm, promising bright days ahead. Aging. So I think you're going to pick up on the theme of these newer poems pretty fast. I am held here. A light dust of sunflower smiles covers me. I am stunned by the sadness that lies underneath, the fear of what lies ahead. My neck stretches to find the sky, trying to hear the songbirds I cannot see. My back curves into walls which hold me upright. A curved seamstress chained to a sweat house, I am haunted by the memories of a childhood which never came. I can still bend, pick up the flower petals, put them in my pocket for later, like George Bailey, just in case. Okay. So the next couple of poems are poems that I use anaphasia, which is basically I start each stanza with the same line, and it can be done with a few words. It can be done with the same line, but it hammers home through the repetition. And so many poets have used this. Joe Braden used this in his poem, I Remember. And so my first poem using this is When People Are Kind. When people are kind, it softens their faces, the hard lines etched into skin by too many wounds dissolve like the rock salt being thrown into mushroom barley soup. The flavors of aging mixed with the wisdom of patience, handed out on platters of love. When people are kind, there is a flash of brilliance that oozes into the atmosphere, a colliding of heartaches and kisses, letting loose a storm of tears and a round of hugs, a flooding of passions trapped far too long, now flowing down a stream where there is always someone on shore to support you. When people are kind, there is a symphonic clattering of voices cheering in the heavens, shadowing out between fog and thunder, that this is how we wash away the tragedy of human devastation, genocide, and stupidity. This is how we continue past headlines. This is how we remember we are nothing but flesh and blood, too easily bruised. This is how we survive when people are kind. And the next poem starts and repeats each stanza with the line, simply, what if I fall? What if I fall? I fall down a hole that is so black I can't see my own hand. The edges and walls scrape me. As I pass, I hit bottom. I am full of blood, bruises, and rug burns. What if I fall? I fall down a hole that is so deep, so wide, so massive, I can't touch the edges, can't reach the sides, can't grab onto anything that keeps me drifting on the air that takes up so much space. What if I fall? If I fall down a hole that is so full of liquid that I sink as it fills my nostrils, my lungs, every cavity, every pore, every nuance of my being until I am water, nothing more than fluid. What if I fall? I fall down a hole full of self-doubt, misgivings, and spelling errors. All places I have lived before, all holes in my armor that I have wear to protect myself from the demons that try to grab me as I turn into an already open grave. What if I fall? What if I fall down a hole that is full of light, warmth, stars, beams that are as cliche as the ice that hangs from my brow, melts the syllables that escape my lips as I try to kiss the suspended moon? What if I fall? I fall down a hole that is filled with honor, the acts we do to preserve one another's integrity, that makes the passing of time painless, helps us to feel connected to another being, honor breaking the hard landing. What if I fall? I fall down a hole full of love and tenderness, full of love and tenderness, full of love and tenderness. What if I fall? And I'm going to finish with this last poem. It was sent to me. It will be a part of another show, which will be Angela Rebeck is putting together of a choir singing songs and then poets responding to it. So I was given this poem, Days of Beauty by Emily Bronte. When days of beauty deck the earth or stormy nights descend, how well my spirit knows the path on which it ought to wend. It seeks the consecrated spot, beloved in childhood's years. The space between is all forgot, its sufferings and its tears. Days of beauty, a response, Bonnie Nish. This is enough, these thoughts of holding and needing to be held. The surface of this moment as smooth as new skin, replacing old wounds. This is enough to know the taste of rain caught in the barrel of my open mouth, fresh forgiveness uttered between the storms of life's irrationalities. This is enough, these tranquil hours, the curtain not quite closed. We dancers follow the stars, a moment of twinkling inspiration, held in a night sky full of expectation. Thank you.